Hi, my name is Safar, and today we'll be going over some stuff that I've written about family. We're going to go over the topic of family. So let's just jump right in. Some of what I have written down, I wrote, at an early age, you face an awakening of consciousness. The people around you, the way you grow up, can be both good or bad to the development of who you are today. The people who are supposed to protect you and cherish you do the exact opposite. There are times when your family treats you worse than a stranger on the street. Family can be fake. Your family can be your biggest haters and enemies. Yet somehow, some way, many of us find ourselves going back to them as an adult, knowing we don't feel safe or comfortable around our family, realizing these are the same people that did everything they could to break your spirit or displace their pains and frustrations out on you through sexual, mental, and emotional and verbal abuse. Funny how we forgive those who damaged and trespassed against us time and time again. The people we consider family create a persistent turmoil between our ears and in our hearts and implant false identities and feelings about ourselves. You will never be anything. That is something many young, innocent children hear all the time. But as time goes on, we find an open heart to forgive just because we are not in their care anymore. Giving money to them, listening to their cries, hoping to rebuild a relationship that isn't there, or hoping for an apology that will never come. Often triggering our wounds to remember the demoralizing debacles our family put us through, allowing them to do the same things over and over. Stop making yourself available to be hurt by your family. Cutting the people off that you once knew and loved is not easy, but it sets your spirit free and allows you to carry on and give yourself a better life. Feeling like an outsider is painful, especially among your family. But we get to choose our family, and don't let the dysfunction define or control your purpose of being alive. Coming to terms that the people you love most can hurt you the worst is crucial to emancipating you and your child self from old demons, bad habits, and painful feelings. There was no other ways to survive without bottling things in. Working on your emotional recovery daily is important. Breaking the cycle of certain thoughts and behaviors is also crucial to your survival. Reroute your life in pure love and joy. So, that was the piece that I've written. In my honest opinion, when it comes to your family, when it comes to people that you share your life with, you first grow up in the environment. And the environment, in psychology, we hear about nature versus nurture. And it's very important to look into those things if you don't know anything about it, because it gives you an insight on how things are in an environment of nature versus nurture, and how your family can mold you and condition you, which is also something that is present in psychology, conditioning. And you start to emotionally have certain responses and have triggers and act a certain way, speak a certain way, move a certain way, think a certain way when you think about your family, or you think about the things that have happened to you when you're growing up. And of course, growing up in a household dealing with sexual abuse, mental abuse, and all of those things is very, very hard and difficult to go through. When you start to grow up and you can break away from that, it is very important that you do not allow that to break your spirit, or not to bury it down deep within you, because those types of emotions, although they may be really suppressed, they start to consume your life. And it's very important to know the difference between your true self and your false self. Your false self is the part of you that has grown up in an environment for 18 years. And, of course, we know that, for a certain amount of time, when you put a certain amount of hours in, you become an expert of whatever it is that you're doing. So just imagine in the same type of rules, living 18 years a specific way, having a certain character, thinking a certain way, and moving off of the need to survive rather than just living and being free. When you start to live that way for 18 years plus, and then you're able to get out on your own, you still find yourself being a master of that false sense of self and playing the character very well, because this is what you've had to cope. This is the only way that you've been able to continuously survive through being someone that you're not and feeling things that you know are not of your own natural state. And it's important to differentiate between the false self and the real self. And it becomes a really, really hard battle within your own self when you start to see just the difference in character and the difference in your mind. And many times with our family, we try to push things away and push things down and just say, oh, they didn't mean that. Or we try to deflect and make ourselves feel like we deserved the pain and the abuse that we went through. And of course, although there are many people who wake up to this and realize that the abuse that they went through is wrong and hold their parents accountable, a lot of people still talk to their parents and still are around their parents. And I mean, it's very funny to me how a lot of people, of course, in this day and age will have lived a horrible, terrible life in an environment that is full of drugs, abuse, just all types of horrible, demoralizing things for a young, innocent child to have to go through and see. So, for you to be able to grow up with this and still stick by your parents, that is your personal decision to do that. But you have to always just realize that just because they're your family does not mean that you have to spend the rest of your life around them. And of course, if you're a more spiritual person, you'll understand when I say that, like in another past life or in a karmic duty of yours, you had to live this life and experience what you experienced. But the people that you live with, that you grow up with, that you learn from at a young age, they will be here to teach you. They will be here to guide you, whether or not they do it, whether or not they are proficient in doing that. It just all depends. But at the end of the day, the people that you grow up around will not be in your lives forever. They will move on with their lives. They will live their lives how they want. They will be prone and privy to the conditioning that they have been susceptible to at a young age. And they'll live their lives for society and for not themselves, but for that false self. They'll continue to hold on to certain traditions and rituals without knowing the basis of them, the fundamental aspects of it. And they'll continue to live a certain way, breathe a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way. And they'll find in their minds a hard concept to acquire in their minds, like breaking away from what they have known. Some people cannot live a life of happiness and comfort, and they always have to live a life of drama. That is why you see many people who gossip, who always complain about everything that they're going through, people who put all of their faith and dreams and wishes not into themselves, but they choose religion to, in a way, free them from the pains that they went through. And of course, I'm not here to debate about, religion and people's beliefs, but I do feel like a lot of people put a lot of faith and energy into religion because it is a way for them to cope. It is a way for them to believe that everything will be okay, and that if you put your trust in the divine power, and that if you have faith, no matter what happens or no matter who does you wrong, everything will be fine. But it's important to note that you are the master of your own mind and you write the script. That is always the most important thing to understand, and that I will always continuously say is that you write the script. If you are the type of person who wants to grow and get better within life, you have to first realize. Realizing is always the first step. You hear this time and time again. It's always important to realize, to become aware. Because when you become aware of everything, when you start to question your own beliefs, you find a very diminishing feeling of your own fundamental beliefs, and you start to become aware, and you think about, okay, is this really what I think it is? You know, you start to question things, and for some people it becomes hard to question what they've known all of their lives, and some people will just refuse it. But it's always important to be aware and to understand different habits that you may have that might not be the best, to understand how you may continuously make excuses for others who have done you wrong just to have someone there for you to love you. And many times people in this world will find relationships, have kids, they will have all of these degrees and chase these careers or chase their family, but on the inside they feel horrible. And you see a lot of people who chase their families and seek to have relationships with their families. There's always drama and chaos and conflict within the family. Or there's always death and disease and destructive tendencies that lurk within the family. And when you really look at your family and then you look at yourself, it's important to understand that, of course, you want to feel comfort and you want to feel love, because it's not something that your family has given to you. It's not something that you were able to feel at a young age. So you start to chase that feeling. So you start to chase relationships. You start to have children. You start to do all of these different things to free yourself or to feel some type of comfort or love. But yet you never find the peace and the happiness that you're looking for. So that was all that I had today. All I have to say about that. And I just want you to get to thinking about things and, of course, write down everything that has happened in your life. You can write it down by pen and paper. You can journal it. You can, on your phone, put it into the notes and just start writing and typing when you have time about everything that you feel about your family, everything you have went through, the feelings that you have about yourself, and the feelings that you have in regards to each family member that has played a part in your life and what they may think of you and the type of relationships or characteristics, beliefs, all that stuff, everything that you may be feeling, write it down and journal it. There is no wrong way of doing things, and you just allow yourself to be free. And when you reread everything, when you read things back, you will just really see the truth of what you feel, how you feel, and you can start to notice certain things within your own writing and your own expression of how you feel. So that's all I have today. Leave in the comments of how you feel about this topic, and if you would like to add anything, much appreciated. Much love to you. Have a great day.